Alright, so this is part 2 of my in-depth coverage of the Bose L1 speakers. Again, the reason I'm doing this is because there isn't enough information out there. Most of the videos are people who are selling it, which I don't think is right. I think there should be some users out there, some DJs like myself, that actually have used this technology and why it's so good. In the first video, I went over this is for the Model 1S and also the Model 2, a signal combiner, because it has one line in. The tone match engine, which is about 500 bucks, will allow you to put multiple inputs in. However, being a DJ, I don't care about the tone match engine, and I would have to spend $4.99 times 2, or buy one and split them up between the two speakers. Basically, it's a little mini mixer that allows you to select instruments and microphones that are pre-set up inside the database built into it. I have no use for it. The only thing that would give me is the ability to do more than one input, microphone, and in my case, let's say you want to put a stereo line in instead of mono. The Model 1, Model 2 is perfectly good. One speaker is perfectly good for a venue. I did an entire wedding with one Model 2, 600 people. So for smaller venues, you could easily drag around a 1S, no problem. But you need either to run your system in mono or you need one of these boxes. Now, at first glance, you'll notice that on Amazon, there's a bunch of XLR combiners, but they're all for microphone. I mean, they start out at $29, $30. None of them specifically say line level, so that's concerning to me. So I did some research, and if you go, if I can do this, no, it's review is uploading here. This is what I wound up getting. Well, first of all, you have to be careful because there is another whirlwind that looks exactly the same, but it's missing the it's missing the ground lift switch, and it specifically is made for microphones. So this is $100, and this is for microphones only, and you can see it still has the 2 in and 1 out. It's not the right thing. Everything on Amazon I could find, none of them specifically said line level. So this is what you want. Has 2 switches, 2 inputs, 1 output, and it literally is made for line level. This is the right impedance, the right amount of gain. Basically, it takes 2 stereo signals, mixes them into one, and you don't lose anything. Do not get confused. I think the price went up because I don't remember paying this much. I think it went up at least 15 bucks, 14 bucks. I don't know. Look around. It's the IMCOML 2-to-1 line combiner. Because it has transformers, though, you need to keep it away from anything that has another transformer because it will pick up a hum, a buzz. It's not coming from the cable, it's actually coming from the actual transformers inside. I don't know any way of shielding it. Just keep it away from any power supply, including the 1S power supply. Alright, so let's get into the other stuff here. Alright, so if you go to their website, you have all these different models. Well, in reality, there's only 3. Okay, we have 3 models. We have the Compact, we have the 1S, and we have the Model 2. The Compact has 6 drivers in the top, an 8-inch woofer in the bottom. Amplifier is obviously built in. The 1S has 12 drivers in the first top part of the array. Amplifier is built in again. The bass is way more stronger, even on this small bass module. I'll get into that further later, the options. And then you get into the Model 2. 24 speakers. And again, power, and then you can choose your bass module. Now, I think these are 4.5 or 5-inch speakers in the bass module. I don't know what I just clicked on. Go back. I'm trying to upload the first video while I'm trying to make the second video at the same time, so it's pretty interesting. So this is the B2, and that is the B1. So you can see it is, if you were to take this B1 and flip it on its side and stack two of them, it would be just as tall and about the same size as this B2. Alright? But with the switch on the back of this B2, which weighs about 40 pounds, where this one weighs about 20, this can be one of these little tiny subs, or it can be two of those, or it can be four of those. Now, with the 1S, you can power two of these B2s, B1s, or one of these big B2s. So, I mean, that's a lot of flexibility right there. For small venues where you don't need a lot of bass, you can buy the 1S with the smaller bass module. Let's say you're a guitarist or whatever. If you're a DJ, you definitely want the B2. If you're doing huge venues, you definitely want the Model 2. If money is no object, definitely get the Model 2. I don't know. My thinking is, like I said, two models. You can much more flexibility. There's maybe certain venues you're going to a small bar or a small venue where you don't need the full power of the Model 2. And you don't want the big B2. So, my thinking is go with the mid-range, get two of them. You can keep them, and you can separate them. I'm actually thinking about separating wirelessly, so one 1S is on one side of the room and the other 1S is on the other side of the room. And believe it or not, there's some videos up there where people have noticed that there's no echo or delay. You usually get a delay in a room because of the distance travel, the Doppler effect. Not because of bouncing off the walls, but there's actually videos of people that put the two line arrays far, far apart, and standing in the middle, you couldn't tell that there was an echo or delay because of the distance involved, which is amazing. One of the reasons that the Model 2 has 24 arrays instead of 12, obviously more power. But this is actually, it's designed if you're up on a stage above the crowd. Because think about this. This is down at your waist level, your feet level. Nobody's going to hear that. And the only way that's going to really make a difference is if you're elevated up. And you'll notice on here, the compact, there's 6 drivers at the very top. However, you can take out a section and drop it down to the mid, or you can take out all the sections and just leave it as like a speaker, and you still have your line array. But ideally, what you want is you want the drivers up at ear level. So that's one of the reasons I never understood the Model 2 and having 24 drivers straight up and down. In reality, the 1S, 2 of them have the exact same amount of drivers, 12 and another 12, and that is equal to one Model 2. Although people on the forums say that the Model 2 is still better, I don't know if I agree with it. I really don't think so. I think that if you get the 2 units pumping out the same signal, not stereo, that the line array would travel further if they're spread apart, the base modules being together. I may be wrong about that. That's my thinking. So anyway, you'll notice there's a ton of different models. I mean, they go all the way up to $3,100, $3,200, and that's just for one speaker. And you could do a wedding, no problem. But this tone match engine adds $500. You don't need it if you're a DJ, because most DJs have equalizers and mixers and everything else. So, from a guitar standpoint, the compact is great. If you need more, you're in a band, then you start to get into the 1S or the 2. Ideally, if money were an object and get each band member their own L1 and stick it behind them. But with the tone match engine, you can actually plug in multiple people in the band into one speaker. There's a local band around here, and they just bring one model. I think it's a classic. It's an old one, and it's been playing for years. And they have the best sound out of all the bands. It's just amazing. And I tell them that every night I see them. I go right before they're done, and I go on. I'm like, you guys sounded great. They could be completely off key and whatever, but the sound was great, and they appreciate that. So that's your options and everything like that. My goal is to get another B1, so I have two 1S's, two B1s, and two B2s. The most amount of flexibility, I think, without breaking the bank, by the way, because obviously $2,700 is a lot of money for a speaker. You'd be up at $5,500, maybe $5,500, not including tax. You know, Bose is expensive, but I only buy the best stuff. I only buy quality mixers, quality laptops. You get what you pay for. For that kind of money, you could probably buy a crap load of Mackies and JBLs and PVs and everything else, and they just won't look and sound as good as the Bose. It's the technology. It's not hype. A line array is what they use in concerts. And you can see it's the same theory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 speakers all pumping out this exact same thing. The newer line arrays actually are starting to break them up into low, mid, and highs or whatever, but Bose has brought that to the mobile DJ. This is ridiculous. This is professional sound. I mean, and notice how they stack the subs too. The subs are all stacked. Ideally, you want the subs sitting on top of each other. In another video, I will post a link, or I'll bring it up on the screen. They give you really, really short cord with the subs that come with it, because they don't expect you to separate the sub too far from the array. Well, there is a guy that sells these special 4-conductor cables in any length you're looking for. And I contacted Bose tech support, and it's pretty much no limit on how far you could go. He was like, I was concerned about going 15, 20 feet. He's like, you'd go 100 feet or whatever. You know, when you get into going long distances, you have to be real careful with the thickness gauge of the wire of the sub, because it starts to put impedance and starts to mess around with the amplifier. So I kept it like 15, 20 feet, and that's plenty. And the reason I got that is that means that I measured it out. I could take the 2 subs, put them right in the middle, then put my DJ rig right there, and then go 15 feet out to one side and 15 feet out to the other side. It gives me a 30-foot span. The subs are concentrated in one spot. The 2 speakers are separated far enough to run stereo if I wanted to run stereo. And that's it. I think they were like $30 or something for the cable, $60 for 2. Real heavy duty, special 4-conductor. They are the new trick type connector where you just kind of, you know, clip in and snap in, but don't get fooled. You need to get 4-conductor version of it. I'll have to find that link. So that's part 2. We do more videos, especially with some audio tests and stuff. Oh, look, the upload's going to take another 90 minutes. Thank you, YouTube. Yeah, and that's it, guys. I'm glad. Thanks for listening. I don't really care about comments or liking this or whatever. It's just basically information out there that I think that more people should have spent the time to do. You know, everything I see out on these YouTube videos is usually motivated by some guy who wants to sell you something or whatever. Well, I have no interest in selling you anything. I'm just an owner. I'm a user. I'm an end user of the product. I like the product. I've owned multiple. I've owned everything. I had the Model 2. I had the Classics. This is the 1S. So I know the technology. I know it works. All right, let me figure out how to stop this recorder.